Hey everyone, welcome. It doesn't matter if you're on the factory floor or in the design lab. When a machine goes down, everything stops. So today, we're going to learn the key English words you need to turn that crisis, that breakdown, into a breakthrough.
Okay, I want you to picture this. That constant hum of the factory floor, it just stops. Silence. The conveyor belt is frozen. All you see are blinking red lights. It's that heart-stopping moment, right? So, what do? What do you even call this situation? Getting the words right is always the first step to getting back online. All right, so let's dive right in. We'll start at the very beginning of this whole mess, the moment things start to go sideways. Getting these first few terms right is absolutely critical if you want to describe what's happening accurately.
Okay, so everything, and I mean everything, starts with a problem. Think of it as the first clue in a mystery. That weird rattling sound that wasn't there yesterday? Or maybe the machine is just running a little sluggish. It's that little warning bell in your head saying, something's not quite right here.
Now, if you ignore that little problem, it can quickly escalate into a failure. And this is much more specific, right? We're not just talking about a weird noise anymore. Now, a specific component, say a sensor or a motor, has just given up. It's officially quit. The whole machine might still be limping along, but a key part has failed.
And, well, if that failure is a critical one and you don't catch it in time, you get the big one, the breakdown. This is the worst-case scenario. Total system shutdown. The machine isn't just slow, it's completely dead in the water. Production grinds to a halt. Yep, this is the full-blown crisis.
And you can see the difference so clearly here. A failure? That's kind of like the yellow warning light. A single part is on the fritz. But a breakdown? That's the whole system crashing down. It's the red light, maybe even a little smoke. Knowing the difference between these two is so important because it tells you just how fast you need to react.
Okay, so the machine is down. The line is silent. Total breakdown. Now what? The big question is, who are you going to call?
Let's talk about the team. Because behind every great repair, there's a team of skilled people. Let's meet the key players who jump into action.
First up, you've got the operator. Think of them as the first line of defense. They're the ones running the machine day in, day out. They know its quirks, its personality, every little sound it makes. They are absolutely vital for spotting those problems before they become catastrophes. And then you have the hero of our story, the technician. This is the hands-on expert who gets that urgent call. They're the one who shows up with the toolkit, figures out what's wrong, and physically gets their hands dirty to bring that machine back from the dead. And of course we have the engineer. Now, while the technician is focused on fixing the problem right now, the engineer is thinking bigger. They're asking, why did this happen in the first place? And how can we change the design so it never, ever happens again? They're the strategic mastermind.
So you've got your team assembled. Awesome. But a great team is nothing without a solid process, right? That's where the plan of action comes in.
And this is a pretty standard workflow, a really logical sequence of events. First, you do an inspection. You got to find the root cause. Then you write up a report detailing what you found. Next, you schedule the actual repair, trying to cause as little disruption as possible. And last but not least, you create a record of everything you did, so you've got that history for next time.
And the one thing that holds all of this together, it's the plan. And we're not talking about a rough idea on the back of a napkin. This is a detailed strategy. The plan spells out exactly who does what parts you'll need, and the timeline for the whole thing. It's basically the playbook for the entire repair.
All right, team's ready, plan is set. So what do you actually need to get the job done?
Well, the end goal, the whole reason we're doing any of this, is to find the solution. That beautiful moment when the machine hums back to life. The problem's gone, the breakdown is over, and everything is running smoothly again. That's the win we've been working for.
And to make that solution happen, our technician is going to need a few things. Obviously, the right tool for the specific job. They'll need the correct spare part to replace what's broken. They'll need time to actually perform the service or the repair. And, super important, they need support from everyone else on the team. And I have to say this because it underpins everything we've talked about, safety. This is the one thing that is absolutely non-negotiable. Every single step, from the first look to the final test, has to be done safely. Look, getting the machine running again is the goal, sure, but making sure everyone goes home safe, that's the #1 rule, period.
Okay, so we've just walked through how to fix a breakdown. That's great.
But the best engineers, the best technicians, they know that fixing stuff is only half the job. The real game changer is preventing the problems from ever happening in the first place.
And that's where this huge, super important concept of maintenance comes in. This isn't about sitting around and waiting for things to break. No way. It's all about being proactive, about constantly keeping the equipment in great shape with regular checkups and care. It is the absolute foundation of any reliable system.
And when we talk about maintenance, there are really two big schools of thought. First, there's preventative maintenance. This is all about the calendar. We change the oil every 3 months. Simple as that. But then there's predictive maintenance, which is a lot smarter. It uses actual data, maybe from sensors, to tell you, hey, the oil is starting to degrade, we should change it next Tuesday. It's the difference between just following a schedule and actually listening to what the machine is telling you.
So what does a good maintenance program actually look like? Well, the backbone is made up of these key actions. Doing a routine check, just to make sure everything looks okay. Regular lubrication, applying oil and grease to keep things running smoothly. And having a master schedule to make sure all these proactive tasks actually get done on time.
So that brings us to one final thought, something for you to chew on. What do you think is more valuable? Having the absolute best solution to fix a problem when it happens, or having the perfect plan to prevent that problem from ever happening at all?